Hello, welcome to the Nintendo Bros podcast. This is Pete.
And this is Derek.
And we are back to talk about video games, right, Derek?
As per usual, yeah.
As per usual, we're not talking about anything else. So, not too much to talk about this week, but there's a little bit of news, and we've been playing some stuff. And also, very recently, Derek and I both posted our... very late to this, but we posted our Game of the Year 2023 lists on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Now, Derek, I don't know. I think we kind of talked about our list beforehand. I just want to let you know my list changed a lot from what I said to you before. Did you have any surprises with that list?
I haven't watched your
my
video.
list.
I haven't watched your video, so I want to hear your commentary. But I'm not really surprised with your list. Like it's in some ways very similar to mine, based on the games we both played. So I'm not really surprised that, we have pretty similar taste. As far as games that I played and games that you played that the other hasn't, for me the one that stands out is F-Zero 99. You mentioned that a lot. I don't know where it ranked on your list, but
number 10.
So that's I think definitely one of the games that has piqued my interest the most. But again, I'll have to go back to your list to double check what I want to play.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have Nintendo Switch Online, right? So you don't even have access to it, I don't think. Right?
I got a free week so I could play Mario Kart with Juliana last week.
Well, you should give F-Zero a romp. I mean, it's not like some long-lasting game you need to play forever, but it is really something special. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone who plays it kind of knows it. And the thing is, you and I, we had F-Zero for Super Nintendo.
No, yeah, I'm definitely tempted to get it and get Nintendo Switch Online because of the direct that I'm sure we'll talk about with some of the N64 games coming. So I'm tempted to. I might as well grab that and then play some F-Zero 99 for sure.
The one thing that I switched on my list that I thought you might have be surprised about, I guess you didn't watch the video, but was that I had Super Mario Wonder a little bit higher than I originally planned. Oh. And I think the thing was, when I really thought back on it, is that I would 100% of that game. And
you rarely do that.
Really do that. And honestly, the last time I actually remember 100%ing a game was New Super Mario Bros. For the DS. Because I remember just grinding every little thing in that game. But
what about Mario Odyssey? You never 100% of that?
No, all 99 stars, all the purple coins. Are you insane?
But you beat every level. Like you beat the very very dark side of the moon.
Yes, I did that, but I'm talking actually 100 fully percent.
Did you buy every single thing in Mario Wonder? You bought all the little signs?
Yeah.
You bought every single one?
Yeah, and
that's such a grind for the purple coins.
But here's the funny thing was, as I was playing Mario Wonder, I knew that I was like, hey, I should buy these signs. Every time I got 100 or 999 purple coins, I would dump them all on the signs. And I already knew that in the special world, you didn't get repeat signs again. So it was faster to do it that way. I didn't know if you knew that.
I knew that too, but I mean, I still wasn't even close. I did the exact same thing you did, and I still was not anywhere
believe me,
near.
I went on YouTube and I looked up the ways to grind purple coins. And I did spend probably a good hour repeating the same level over and over again, getting purple coins.
My God!
So that's what I mean.
There are games that I do that for, but I just never have ever pegged you as something to do like a grind like that. Like that's what I do sometimes. But
that's what I'm saying. So I don't know what it was. I don't know. I was in Mexico City at the time, and even though games like other games like Pikmin 4 are higher, and I do plan to actually 100% Pikmin because I just love Pikmin 4.
Let me tell you, you should definitely 100% that game. Some of the stuff is so good.
Yeah, and I'm picking away at it. I love it, but with Mario Wonder, I don't know what it was. It's just there's some sort of weird comfort food to it. It's sure, it's not a steak and it's not a delicious lobster or anything, but it's just it's just Wonder Bread with peanut butter. You know what I mean? And
it's just solid and good.
If you watch the video, I mean, it's only a few minutes. You should watch it.
I'm going to. Yeah.
I do say in it, I'm like, this game didn't blow me away, but I did. It's just so comfortably. It's so comfortable of a game. It's hard to explain. And when I think about the forest for the trees type of thing, it had great power ups. It has great controls. It is one of those games that in 20 years, when we're comparing 2D Marios, it'll be in the conversation. where I can't necessarily say the same about anything else. But it did outrank Mario RPG for me.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was surprised that Mario RPG didn't make your list. Like I'm shocked that Spider-Man 2 did and Mario RPG didn't.
So the only reason I didn't put Mario RPG, and I think I didn't put Metroid Prime Remastered, is I just felt they were so one-to-one of remakes that I wanted to kind of capture the year 2023 as games that are new. And I know, again, I know there's quite significant upgrades for those games, but I still just was kind of like, to me, when I think of the I think I'm going to say 1999 is when the Super Mario RPG came out originally.
Something like, or 98, I think. The year the N64 came out. So I believe it was actually 96.
Okay. So let's say the year it came out. Like, to me, I'll remember this version alongside the original, right? Or
Interesting.
To me, like, that's encapsulated together. Where, for example, Resident Evil 4 remake is a totally different game in my mind. So it deserved to kind of be there. Where Metroid Prime Remastered, like, I don't even imagine the old version of the game anymore. Like, that is the only way to play now is the remastered version. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can I put that? Like, as much as I agree, it actually probably deserves to be on that list. To me, it's still just the best game of the year it came out, and this is just the version to play.
I see your point with something like Metroid Prime Remastered, or even like The Last of Us Remastered. Like, those are just kind of like 4K upgrades, right?
Yeah. But Mario RPG, I agree. I would hum and haw because I know there's some gameplay changes, but still.
And it just felt like something that would never happen. Do you know what I mean? It felt like if I was like, let's say Switch was announced, we're back in January 2017. I said, Derek, did you know that Switch is going to have a new Mario RPG remake, and it's going to have a brand new this and a Metroid Dread is going to find, like, Metroid Dread and Mario RPG are going to come to Switch? You would have been like, oh, these are pipe dream lists. Like, these are fanboy lists. So to me, part of Mario RPG was the announcement of it was also a big part of the year for me. Like, how excited we were seeing all the reaction videos. Yeah. That's all part of it for me.
And don't get me wrong, like Mario RPG is one of those games. Like, Super Mario RPG is top 3 favorite games of all time, and I would say this is now the way I will play it. I truly feel like this game still, even though it's not on my top 10 for the year, is still more meaningful in my heart than Pikmin 4. I loved Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 is probably my favorite Pikmin game, but Super Mario RPG Remake, it still has that spot as the Super Mario RPG original game does. I just don't think it, to me, would capture 2023 properly. I don't know how else to explain it. Like I love the hype. I love the game. That's just kind of how I thought about it.
And, in my head canon, the way the Mario universe and world and Mushroom Kingdom is still the way Mario RPG represents it. Like,
same.
Not Mario 64, not Odyssey, not even Galaxy when you see a little bit of the Mushroom Kingdom at first. Mario RPG is the Mario world. So anyways, let's move on from our Game of the Year lists. But I will just note, there's no way I'm gonna have 10 games this year. I just don't.
So what I'm doing right now is I record for my Game of the Year list. I record all the games I play, and I write a little rating beside them. And usually I put DC for the game doesn't count because it came out a different year. But I still record them because I would like to discuss with you, games of the year that didn't come out this year. Because I agree, I might play 3 or 4 games that actually come out this year, but I'll have probably 15 games that came out years before.
Yeah, like last year I played a lot of Switch Sports, and I thought it was great. I didn't put it on the list because it was an older game.
Yeah, like I'm playing a game right now that we'll talk about that I am absolutely loving and probably would have made my top 10 the year it came out. I just only getting around to it now.
Well, okay, Derek. Well, later in this episode, we're going to talk about our top 3 most excited games for 2024. Mm-hmm. And we can kind of touch on what our expectations are for the year. But first, let's talk about some of the recent Nintendo news that happened. I mean, we had a Pokemon Direct and we had a Nintendo Partner Direct. So the Partner Direct, what were your thoughts on it, Derek?
Like it didn't blow me away. Like, there were some things that were, there was one thing in particular that was a big surprise for me. I was super stoked for. The rest was solid. I mean, it's kind of what I expected. People kind of gave a heads up that it wasn't gonna, blow minds or anything like that, or break the internet. And again, it's kind of understandable. We've been hearing that Nintendo and third parties are getting kind of readied for the Switch 2 or whatever it's called. So I think we're in that kind of last year or last however long it is, where software is slowing down for the Switch as they get prepared for their kind of launch window. So yeah,
Absolutely. What was the one? I don't. By the way, I don't have a list of it in front of me right now.
me
To me,
neither.
to me, it seemed like they just poured a bucket of third party games out on us. But what was the game you're really excited for?
Yeah, the game I'm super excited for is Ender of Magnolia. It's the sequel to Ender, or sorry, Ender Magnolia. It's the sequel to
The Ender Lily
Ender.
sequel, right?
Yeah, and I loved Ender Lilies. I thought it was an awesome, awesome game. I think you watched me play some of it actually.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. So I'm really stoked. I'm shocked they're making a sequel. I knew it sold pretty well, like surprisingly well. But I'm still shocked that they decided to go. Their next game is to a sequel.
Is it
Again,
a Switch exclusive though, or is it multi-platform?
I think it's a Switch exclusive.
Okay.
It might be Steam and Switch or something like the original. I'm not sure about this one or the original, but I think it's Switch only. Again, like I really liked it, and I also know that they can improve on certain things. I'm just out of all the games, I was surprised that was announced. I'm stoked for it. I think it's coming out this year, so yeah, all good.
Yeah, some other notable games I remember from it were the Super Monkey Ball, the brand new Super Monkey Ball game that is actually a Switch exclusive.
Oh yeah, that one actually excited me too. I haven't played Super Monkey Ball in a long time.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the funny thing is, I have so many GameCubes lying around, and I play Super Monkey Ball 2 on GameCube, and it's kind of a classic, tried and true game. But they also have they have a few Monkey Ball games already on Switch. One is like Super Monkey Ball 1, 2, and Mania remade. But it's still going for a hefty price.
But this one
So
is a brand new game, like new levels and everything.
I believe so. It's got 300 levels. It's got a lot of new mini games, and it's got this kind of
Cool.
online mode with like what is it, 30 other players.
Yeah, yeah.
Like anything, this is the kind of game. I mean, if it reviews really well and it has a good price and it's just the right time frame, I can see myself picking this up.
Yeah, I agree.
But not terribly excited about it. And then the other thing they showed that was a kind of an interesting announcement was the Endless Ocean, the third Endless Ocean game.
Yeah, see that does nothing for me. One, I don't have any nostalgia. I never played the originals. But really, for me, is a game like that where it's kind of about exploration and the environment of the world. It's got to run well, and just looking at that, I know it's going to be choppy frame rate, kind of pop in, low draw distance. To me, a game like that, I will not enjoy if it runs like that.
Well, the thing to keep in mind is that it's much easier to run an ocean than it is like a jungle. Because an ocean, it kind of makes sense that things are fading in at a distance because because of cloudy waters.
Yeah.
And the original ones were both on Wii, so and I don't remember anyone complaining about the performance on those. So I don't think it's like a necessarily the kind of game that's like beautiful graphics, but I think it's more about the vibe, right?
I just like I'd rather play Abzu.
Yeah, Abzu is really cool. I did play a bunch of that. It's
Yeah.
kind of like Journey, but under like the Journey version of underwater.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
To
that's
me,
totally different
yeah,
type of game though.
totally. I just like it's just if I'm gonna play visuals, if I'm gonna have kind of that feeling, Abzu is kind of that, or Abzu Journey or Jusant is kind of the pillar of like beautiful games in my mind. And then if I think about just underwater games, if I actually want to like enjoy the gameplay, I'd go to like Subnautica. So for me, between Subnautica and Abzu, I don't really know where Endless Ocean falls in, except for being mediocre at both those things
See,
that I'd be looking for.
I did not like Subnautica. I thought it was a grind, and I ended up just watching someone beat it online. And I was so happy I didn't waste the time to do all the things that they did.
I found like I never beat the game either. I put about 10 hours in. I found it fun those 10 hours. I do understand the grind feeling, but again, as far as gameplay, it's just a lot more interesting gameplay than Endless Ocean looks. And Endless Ocean doesn't have the visual factor of Abzu.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to probably buy Endless Ocean, but
Yeah.
I guess I understand the appeal for some people because apparently I was reading that like the last Endless Ocean game, like they're still making discoveries in it. Like there's like a GameFAQs forum where like there's still fish being discovered. So
That's
it's just
cool.
kind of got this like endless kind of depth to it. So I thought that was kind of neat, and I'm
That is really cool.
it's like anything. It's like when another Code got a remaster. Like I'm happy that these fans of these kind of niche games are getting their
A second
day.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just it's again like it's one of those things where if someone was making a dream list of Switch games back in 2017, they'd be putting Mario RPG Remake and Luigi's Mansion 3, and they'd be putting like, oh, and a new Endless Ocean, and everyone would be like, yeah, right.
But it's so funny because Endless Ocean, I'm assuming, is a third party game. Um,
It's well, Nintendo. I believe Nintendo owns the property, like the IP, but the developer is a third party. Yes.
okay, okay. I just find it so funny because when I think of Nintendo and their IP, there's so many good IPs that they're not bringing back and haven't brought back. I'm like, out of all the games you could bring back, I understand, budget, it's a smaller scope or whatever. It's like, why would you bring, another Code and Endless Ocean over F-Zero or Star Fox or Wave Race or Eternal Darkness? Like, I don't know. I just see such a difference there.
Well, I think what actually the way it happens is that the developer of I believe they're called Akira.
Yeah,
I'm,
they
I'm,
make the pitch, right? Yeah.
yeah, they're basically like, hey Nintendo, we'd love to make another one. It's kind of like why are they not making another Sin and Punishment? Well, because Treasure, the developer, isn't really set up to make that. So I think that's what it comes down to a lot of times. Like in F Zero, that's like Miyamoto's game, and the last one bombed.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, any Nintendo Direct, magic can happen at any Nintendo Direct, right?
Yeah.
And they've done a pretty good job, I feel like, overall with Switch, with representing the series they have. And I think, like, here's the thing. I thought by now we'd be like, real. I mean, we'll talk about this in a sec, the Switch 2 being delayed. But at some point, we've got to make our kind of our retrospective of the Switch and our top 10 games for the Switch. But it almost seems premature because we don't even know what the lineup could be for this year on Switch.
Yeah, like we kind of know maybe into the summer with, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, but a great question I was kind of seeing online now that the discussion of the Switch being delayed, Switch 2 being delayed, is what is their holiday game?
What do you think about the Switch being delayed? Like, do you think it's true?
I do believe that it's coming out in March. I think Nintendo
This March, like what next 3 days?
No. That'd be the wildest thing that they just told everyone it was March 2025, but secretly they were actually prepping for March 2024, and they're just like, "Hey, it's coming
Never.
out next week," and everyone's like, "What
Never.
the hell?" I know, never. But
So you believe it?
I do believe it. I don't really know if I agree with the reasons of like trying to prevent scalpers or whatever. I think really, in my mind, the success of the Switch, part of it was the launch in March. I know that sounds weird to say, but it's an empty month as far as usually of games and hardware go. So the Switch had a huge boom in the first month of release, as all hardware does. Then it had a nice summer, got some games coming out that year, and then boom, they hit Christmas. Where I think they're going to do the exact same thing for Switch 2. Comes out in March with a heavy game. It's going to come out with, I don't know, a bunch of upgrades for games, or maybe a Metroid Prime 4 or a Mario game is my bet. And then they're going to release 3 or 4 other kind of big tentpole games over those next 9 months. Boom, Mario Kart 10 for the holiday. Now you got Mario coming out, Mario Kart 10, and I don't know, Animal Crossing, and the Pokemon game that we just kind of saw. Now they have a really strong first year. The Switch 2 will sell nonstop all year. Once they have a strong base to begin, everyone kind of joins in. Everyone starts buying the Switch 2. The exact thing happened with the Switch.
Exactly. So that's. I mean, some of the rumors about the scalpers, I don't know if I believe that, but a lot of the rumors have to do with Nintendo first party software and saying they need more time to prepare a lineup of first party software. And I think ultimately, what I agree with you, but I think the number one thing that sold the Switch was Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And having Breath of the Wild launch with the system and then a month later have Mario Kart 8. And I know a lot of us hardcore Wii U owners were like, oh, great, a Mario Kart 8 port. It's now sold 50 million copies. Like, it clearly was a massive success and a very, very smart play at that. And then throughout the year, they had Mario and Rabbids, they had ARMS, they had Fire Emblem Warriors, they had Xenoblade 2, they had Mario Odyssey. So, like, they just had this incredible lineup in that first few months. But I think
when did Smash come out?
2018 December.
Okay, so at the end of the next year. Okay.
That was their next year. And 2018 wasn't the strongest year. It was a lot of ports, right? It had Bayonetta and Donkey Kong and Mario Tennis, so it wasn't the
Pikmin 3. Yeah.
strongest. Pikmin 3, no, that was in 2020.
Okay. You're so good with dates. Okay,
That
yeah.
was a COVID kind of thing. But to be honest, I think that they have a big game to release with Switch, and I think it's from the EAD team that makes Mario, because they haven't released anything since Bowser's Fury.
Yeah.
And I think they need more time to make this big game, because as we know, Breath of the Wild was delayed multiple years. It made a leap over what we expect from open world games. And I think if the next big game is a big new open world 3D Mario game, they're better off releasing a game that gets a 97 on Metacritic than gets a 94 on Metacritic.
Yeah.
And they just say, for all we know, the game's 100% complete, and they just want to spend a year polishing and fixing bugs like they did with Tears of the Kingdom. Which I think is very, very possible. And they want to market it right. So I actually think it's all about that.
Like, I totally agree. And just to kind of summarize, I imagine that they want to do the 1-2 punch that they had for the Switch. They had a high reviewing game in Breath of the Wild. Single player, what a lot of fans want to play those kind of games, high quality, something new. Then they also, a month later, as you say, a juggernaut of multiplayer sales, entry level for all the casual players, Mario Kart. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a Mario game coming out, and then a month or two later they throw in either Mario Kart. Mario Kart 10 is really what they should do,
or 9, depending how they number it. Because
for sure. But I just mean, I think that could be their 1-2 punch again. They go, that worked, and
then Metroid Prime 4 in the holiday.
Exactly, yeah.
I think so. I mean, the thing too is they have to know, there's not going to be a Zelda ready for Switch 2.
Exactly. So they're saying, what's the tentpole game going to be?
Exactly.
Mario.
I think it's going to be a 3D Mario, and I think you're right. They're going to have probably not a Smash Bros, but because I think Smash Bros, I don't think we're going to see a Smash Bros for a while.
I think Smash Bros, I honestly think we'll see it a year or two after, but I think it's really hard to predict what it's going to be. I just don't think it's going to be Smash Ultimate Deluxe. You know what I mean?
Well, I think what they're going to do, and this has been rumored, that they're going to allow it to be backwards compatible, the Switch, too. And they will have probably some sort of upgrade model like Sony has, where it's like, hey, do you want to play Smash Bros with 4K and better graphics and everything, faster load times? We've done the upgrade. It's $5 or $2. It won't be free, I don't think. And I think they're gonna basically come out with Switch and say, hey, here's the brand new 3D Mario, looks amazing and eye melting. Everyone's face is gonna melt off. And then they're gonna say, and here's 10 games that you can now play in 4K upgrades. Like Mario Kart 8 will have a 4K 60 frames of 4 players option. Only graphical upgrades and load time upgrades. No actual game, nothing else. And they're going to have basically 10 games and be like, look, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey, Luigi's Mansion. They're just going to basically roll them all out. And they'll say, yeah, we're going to continue to have these game upgrades for $5 each. Stay tuned for more information. We have more coming with Switch upgrades. And I think they're going to rest on their laurels with Smash Ultimate being on Switch at 4K resolution. And that'll be that. And I think Sakurai's working on something else. And I just don't think they're going to be jumping into another Smash Bros. I really don't. I think maybe in 5 years from now. But
I just don't totally agree with that, because Smash is a huge game. They're going to want to set... to me, that's just crazy. They're going to want to put another Smash out. They sell like crazy. They're so popular.
But there's no reason that they can't say, okay, and now on shelves at the store, you can buy Smash Bros., but you're buying it with the upgrade, the Switch 2 logo on the box. You're getting the 4K upgrade. We redid the logo on the graphics, the logo on the box art. Here's Smash Bros. Ultimate. You can still buy this classic game. And you know what? It'll still sell.
You know what? I would be for that, but I would hope they would say, but we're adding another DLC of 10 characters, 10 levels.
And that'd be awesome. I think that'd be a great idea too if they announce that at some point, because they obviously did with Mario Kart. They ported it to Switch and then 4 years later added new stages.
Yeah, exactly.
I do think that with Mario Kart, they will actually do a brand new Mario Kart and have some sort of new
Me too.
idea with
Yeah.
it, and probably great graphics and everything. But yeah,
The,
I
the thing
kind of
is,
think that's the strategy.
the thing that's interesting about Mario Kart is you can make a game and it has none of the old levels and just kind of basically all new levels and maybe a couple of oldies, and people will still love it. Where Smash has now reached the point where if you take out 70 characters and have go back to 25 or anything like that, fans will be upset. So Mario Kart is a lot easier to make a new game, where Smash has kind of reached the point where people are, it's like a fighting game. You can't just remove people's favorite character. So that's why I'm just kind of curious of how Smash will play it. I do like your idea, but yeah, we'll
But
find out.
and also, I think with something like Smash Bros. I mean, we could talk about a whole podcast about the upgrades of Smash Bros. But it's reached an apex. Like it just like it is the ultimate game. It can't be topped from this point
Yeah.
unless they redo it. And it's like, hey, we're gonna make it like a Tekken style Mario, where it's like two fighters in a small arena. Like they could re-envision it entirely, sure. But it's like with the model that they've been building up over the 2 decades, they reach the absolute apex of what this series is. You know what I mean? Like little tweaks to speed controls and stuff, and maybe sure, but it's like I don't think that's enough for a new game, and I don't think they're going to go through the sunken cost fallacy of being like, well, let's just redo all the models with a little bit better graphics. The game already looks amazing. It's already a throwback to the series that they're coming from. I mean, I almost think you could make the same argument about Mario Kart 8, saying that this is just the ultimate Mario Kart. Like, how do you top this? But I think with Mario Kart, they can do things like single player modes. They could bring back Double Dash style. They could make it Nintendo Kart, which I think is more likely. Like, there are a lot of other things they could do. And also, they can make the graphics better. And I just think that, yeah, I just don't think Smash Bros. Has any more headroom. But we've seen GTA 5 sell for 10 years. And I just don't see why Smash Bros. Can't continue to sell and the way that it is, you know?
Yeah, yeah, totally agreed.
But yeah, I have a feeling Sakurai is going to have something for us, maybe a new Kid Icarus or a brand new franchise. Like I'm really excited for next year, and I think my kind of milk toast feeling about this year, I'm okay with
Yeah, me
because
too.
last year was amazing. Next year will be amazing. I'm sure Sony and Microsoft will have some cool things next year as well.
Yeah, I don't mind as much as I don't want ever a year to be like a total dud. I'm okay if this year ends up being a very light year as far as new games being the heavy hitters, because there are still games coming out this year that we're going to talk about that I'm excited for, and I have so many games from the past 2 or 3 years to look forward to that I want to play, and then I think we're going to get a strong Nintendo in 2025. So like this year, if it is a slow year for Nintendo and Sony and Xbox, let's say, I still think I'm going to have so many games to play from the past that I'm okay with waiting for that 2025 Switch 2 launch to happen.
Same here. And I mean, at first, I got to admit, I was disappointed. I was like, oh,
Me too.
great, But now I'm kind of like, well, if they really, they must have delayed it for a reason, and it means that they're really cooking something nice. So let them take their time.
For sure.
With that said, it does leave kind of a gap in what we'd imagine a Switch lineup or what Nintendo's lineup for this year would be. Like if they were planning like the rumor says, originally planning a Switch 2 for near the end of this year. Well, what are they going to fill in on the first Switch? And are these games that might end up were originally planned to be cross-platform? And like, what do you think, Derek? I have a short list of games here. Do you want me to? Here, I'll tell you what I think. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's short. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door could be a September or October release. The Twilight Princess HD, the Wind Waker HD, Metroid Prime 2 remaster, 2D Donkey Kong. Some people have even speculated Metroid Prime 4. What do you think?
I I agree with. I'm just trying to think. So July and August, I would say, is more likely for Paper Mario: Thousand Year Door. I just
Well, that's
it's
Luigi's Mansion is July, I think.
okay. So maybe September or so would be reasonable then. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think Zelda HDs, the two pack could come out for sure. I also agree with Metroid Prime 2 and even 3 kind of being even a bundle or whatever.
Yep.
I don't think Metroid Prime 4 will come out this year. I think it'll be, like you said, probably late 2025.
Yep.
Or it could be part of the window of the Switch 2. It comes out 2 months after, 3 months after, or even the day one. Like, who knows? Maybe that comes out first, and then a month or two later comes Mario. Maybe Mario's not like,
I doubt that so much. Metroid Prime 4 is
I do
not
too.
that
I
game.
totally doubt that too. I'm just saying, Metroid Prime 4 to me is not going to be a Switch game like that.
What about a 2D Donkey Kong though? Because that's been
So
rumored
yeah,
for
that
a
was the
long
one
time.
that's the one I want to talk about. So that one, I think, as much as I didn't even think about it, I think that's pretty possible. I just because I could see that coming out on the Switch as being like final, Switch new game, kind of rounds out the year, different genre, and it doesn't really. People wouldn't be upset that it's not launching on the Switch 2. Like whether it gets upgrades or not. I don't think people are going to say that needed to be on the Switch 2 to really be a whatever.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Where I feel like Metroid Prime 4 would get that.
Yeah. At this point, I'm honestly like, I honestly will just wait another year for Metroid Prime 4, and I don't even want it to be cross-gen. Just put it on Switch 2.
I totally agree.
But things like the Wind Waker HE and Twilight Princess HE, I can if the Switch 2 was initially planned for this year, we have to imagine that any of these types of games that were going to be for the holidays may have been cross-gen. Like if they were going to release Switch 2 in November, then have Twilight Princess come out. Maybe it was meant like it's a remaster, but it's 4K on Switch 2 and HD on Switch. That kind of thing where Donkey Kong, yeah, I think Donkey Kong maybe was, yeah, I mean, who knows if it's even real, but
Yeah.
it's all speculation.
There's honestly so many games we could list though. Like again, even an F-Zero would be kind of a nice way to end the year. Or I really hope a Wave Race comes. I think that'd be a cool way to end the year.
But even Wave Race at this point, it's like, I don't know, with a game, I want to see the graphics pushed on a Wave Race.
Yeah, that's true.
And it just seems like that's not a good end of the cycle game. Like a game like in my opinion,
Yeah.
Donkey Kong's almost perfect, right?
Yeah, I totally agree.
And it'd be very easy for him to say, as long as it's 60 frames, it's very easy for him to say the day Switch 2 comes out, and Donkey Kong is one of the games that's going to get an HD or a 4K upgrade.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question for you. So there was rumors that that we kind of learned that the Switch 2 is going to be delayed, and that's what it sounds like it's going to be, and that's what the rumors are people believing. But there were also rumors that the Switch 2 was going to be announced and shown next month in March 2024. Do you still think that's true? When do you expect the Switch 2 to be shown?
Okay, this is an interesting question. So I've also heard, along with these new rumors of the delay, that the Switch is now going to be shown in June.
Oh,
Like around E3 time. Yeah, I think maybe their initial plans, like who knows? I mean, this is Nintendo we're talking about. Maybe initially their plan was to show it off in March and have it ready in November.
Mm-hmm. But they pushed both things 3 months.
Maybe they pushed it to June, like around E3 gamer time, and then they'll launch in March. Now here, I'm of two thoughts about this. On one hand, if they announce Switch 2 this year, that will really hurt the sales of Switch, even though they're declining already. I think that's possible, but they have to announce a price drop of Switch at almost the same time. So there's some people say, well, why would they announce the Switch 2 cutting off Switch sales during the holiday? But on the other hand, forgetting console iterations and console upgrades, when Breath of the Wild was first shown off in June 2016, the first time it was playable and we got a real look at it. Like obviously we saw it at glimpses beforehand, but that was the first major reveal. That game, they had a whole year of a marketing cycle. They had it on Jimmy Fallon, and they had it on... They marketed the hell out of it all year. And so, I don't think that something like Breath of the Wild could have just been announced in January 2017 and then released in March of 2017. Like, they needed that show-off. Mm-hmm. They had an interesting scenario because they showed it off on Wii U, and Wii U was dying, and no one cared about Wii U. So they had a unique opportunity to do that. If they have this big new game, which is probably not Zelda, it's got to be Mario. Like I'm like literally putting 90% chance it's a 3D Mario game.
Yeah.
Because what else? What Nintendo knows? You launch with a 3D Zelda or a 3D Mario. At this point, it'd be dumb not to launch with one of those. Mm-hmm. With the way history's gone, you don't launch with Luigi's Mansion. We saw how that worked for GameCube. But when
Unless
it comes,
unless their Pokemon game is gonna be big.
I doubt it because Pokemon Legends EA is already announced for Switch. It's probably going to come out in January, like the last Pokemon Legends did, and it'll probably run at 20 frames per second. But my point is that with a big Nintendo's software first, and I don't think the Switch 2 is going to be one of those things where they limp into next generation like Sony and Microsoft do, where all their games are cross-gen. I don't see it. I think Nintendo's not like that. They're going to want to give you real big reasons to make the jump. And they're going to say, I think they're going to be less likely to make cross-generation software than we think. And I think that maybe the odd Mario Party game will be cross-gen. Maybe the indie games will be cross-gen. But there's no way a big brand new launch game on Switch 2 is going to be cross-gen. I just don't think that'll happen.
Breath of the Wild was.
Breath of the Wild was, but that was a unique scenario, I think. Because it was on a dying system, and the Switch was arguably not very much more powerful than the Wii U. Right? This is going to be a power upgrade, and they need to give us a game that shows us why we need to upgrade to Switch 2. Yeah. If I can play 3D Mario in 30 frames, I don't think Nintendo's the type of company to say, do you want to play 3D Mario in 60 frames? Spend $400, $500 on a new Switch.
Yeah.
They're going to say, look at the new functionality of the controllers, look at this new Mario, look what it's doing. So with all that said, with a software-driven approach, I really think Nintendo is going to want to show that Mario game this year. And I think they're going to want to show off the Switch this year along with that Mario. And I actually think they'll be hands-on with the Switch this year. I think they'll want a traditional long hype cycle. And if we remember, the Switch was actually announced long before they even unveiled it called the Switch. It was called the NX. So it was announced. So maybe in June they announced the new Switch. Yes, we have a new hardware coming this fiscal year. Then in October they say, let's take a look. And then they show it. They have hands-on. They show us Mario, or not, or they just show us a trailer and then they do the hands-on in January. I don't know, but I think they will want more than a 3-month or 4-month hype cycle.
Yeah.
The only way that's not happening is if it's actually coming out in June or later in 2025, and then they can wait till next year to show it.
So let me rephrase the question then. Do you think we'll see Switch 2 exclusive games this year in let's say like June?
Yes, I think in June it'll be like, it's hard to say with Nintendo.
Like when do you think, like, for this Mario, this assumed Mario game, when do you think we'll see that? Even if we haven't seen the Switch 2, when do you think we'll see the Mario game?
So my prediction for this year is around April. We'll get a direct with some stuff. In June we'll get another direct with some stuff, but also in June they'll give us kind of we have this is the final bit for Switch. Price drops, player's choice titles, and then next year we're gonna have the new Switch. Maybe they'll give us some indication of, whether they'll probably imply that's an iterative upgrade, like, oh yeah, it's the next Switch, they might call it. And then they might say something like, later in the year we'll give you another look. And then at some point in October there'll be it won't even be a direct. They'll say, hey, we have a big unveiling next week with the Switch, for the Switch 2. Be there, kind of thing. And then we'll see, not even hands-on, we'll see trailers. We'll see trailers, kind of like the initial unveiling of Switch, when we saw a glimpse of Mario Odyssey and a glimpse of Splatoon 2.
Yeah, like 5-minute commercial promo thing, yeah.
Yeah, and we saw that there was a new Mario Kart. And so I think we'll get something like that, where we see, whoa, there's a new 3D Mario, there's a new Mario Kart, there's a new, maybe, Animal Crossing, there's a new Star Fox, I don't know. And they'll kind of give us that unveiling, and then the following year, around January, February, they'll do like they'll start marketing heavily for a March launch.
Sounds good to me.
I think that'll be the plan, and I think the third parties are going to be there in big time. I think we're going to see Resident Evil Remake, we'll see Baldur's Gate, we might see a Red Dead Redemption 2. We're going to see stuff for this system.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think it's going to be very exciting. But I think Nintendo knows that, if this year, if they can't release this year unless they have that big, I think they're really gearing it to line up with a big 3D Mario launch. And that's what I'm really excited about the 3D Mario. and I think they want it to run well. They don't want it to come out and run at 30 frames. Like they want to. Yeah, so I'm really excited about all the prospects of that. I mean, Nintendo, it's a lifetime defining console cycles, and they're always the strongest in their first year or two.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think there's a chance that this holiday, the Switch has a very limping holiday. Like they limp this holiday, where it's like, okay, you get your Wind Waker HD, Paper Mario, and we're gonna bring you a new Musu Warriors game,
Yeah.
Xenoblade Warriors, and Yoshi Woolly World is coming, and I want Yoshi's Woolly World for Switch. Uh, but here's Yoshi's Woolly World port, and I think that could be just fine, along with a price drop, some new colors, and the hype around the new Switch. I think that'll be just fine. The fiscal year is what really matters for their investors, right? They can have a weaker Christmas sales, and yeah, I mean, I don't see what Sony announced the other day. They're not going to be bringing any big new franchises this year. I think we've already seen Microsoft's hand. I think this is going to be a rather weak year for games.
And again, as I said earlier, I'm okay with that. There's so much to play from last year and to look forward to, I would presume, in 2025.
Same here.
Let's talk about what we are looking forward to in 2024, though. So let's shift our gears for a second and let's talk about, you asked what are our top 3 games coming this year. And just as a disclaimer, are we talking about games confirmed to come this year or games we expect to come this year? Like, can I say Hollow Knight Silksong, or is that
no? I would think no. I mean, I think we have to have games that we're pretty sure are coming this year.
Okay,
like at least not. I mean, otherwise, for me, it's like Metroid Prime. Like
Totally.
So, and I think it's games we have seen too. Like I can't think we can speculate.
No, totally. Okay.
But my top 3 games, I'm not gonna lie, I had a hard time with this list. There's not a lot I'm excited for this year, Derek. I would be surprised if I don't buy. Like, I maybe buy 1 or 2 retail games this entire year. I don't think I'm going to buy a PS5 like I planned.
That's okay.
So there's a lot.
You're missing on Helldivers, I got to say, though. It's freaking fun.
It's just the amount of money. It's honestly,
totally.
It's literally a money thing. Like, I just don't have that disposable income right now. If any of our listeners want to send a donation.
Can you imagine one of our 50 listeners is just like has $15 million and just throws it at you?
Honestly, if you want me to be talking about PS5 listener, all 5 listeners, then send me some money or send me an email, Nintendo Bros Podcast at gmail.com, and maybe we can figure something out. But anyways, I mean, there are some exciting games for PS5. That's why. But Derek, I want to hear what your number 3 game that you're excited for in 2024. What is it?
Okay, can I ask another disclaimer before I answer?
Yeah.
Am I allowed saying the Elden Ring DLC or no?
No. I mean, if that's all you got.
So I guess I'm gonna do a two-parter because there's two tied for third. The
Elden How about Ring you do your top 4? Okay, I'll do top 3.
Okay, fine. Then I'm gonna say Elden Ring DLC. Would be my number 4. I'm really looking forward to it. Again, I love From games. I love what they're putting in. It does have a high price tag, which I hope means that it's going to have a lot of content. It sounds like it's quite big and lengthy, and I'm just excited to get back to another Souls game. Or Souls.
What's the price tag?
I think it's $55 in Canada. It's 40. It's 40. Yeah.
Does it have a new map?
So yeah. So you know that the second kind of map, I think it's called Limgrave or something in the original with like the Misty Castle Academy that you go to?
Yeah.
I think so. He said I think it's the size of that, he said, or a little bigger, but he said it's a lot more dense, full of things, like a lot of like, castles and forts and secrets. Like it's that size but much more dense of content, I think is what.
Okay. I've got to say I watched the trailer. I'm happy you're happy. I don't think I'm going to buy it.
That's okay. Yeah, it's not quite for you always.
And even though my memory has soured a little bit on Elden Ring. Like I liked it at the year it came out as my game of the year, and I do think it's a great game. But I don't know, something very unfun about it to me. And honestly, if you hadn't had walked me through so much of what to do and where to go, like I found so much of that design obtuse.
You never even beat the game, did you?
No, I never beat the game. I gave up on that boss. It frustrated me to no end, and I just was like, this is not. There's no fun here for me.
Yeah, like again, I show you that picture before, but like what kind of gamer, what's your motivation as a gamer, and overcoming challenges is one of them. And I honestly don't think that's why you play games. There's very few games that you want to be not frustrated, but like you want to struggle. I don't think that's what interests you. So I don't think Souls and From games are for you.
Yeah, and I just think I'm okay with something being like, let's say, somewhat hard, but once I'm dying a dozen, 2 dozen times, I want an easy mode. I want to just get past it and see.
Yeah,
it,
so
right?
you don't want something hard, exactly.
Yeah. And also,
Okay.
I feel like with Elden Ring, to be honest, if we're getting into it, I feel like a lot of it's cheap. I feel like all those bosses are cheap, and the fact that using summons is how I had to get through some of the game, and I felt it just didn't feel like the game was really designed all that
Yeah, but
tightly.
I completely disagree because I didn't use a summon once to beat the whole game with the same beginning sword. I used the long sword the whole game, but I didn't use a single spell too. So what I would say is, you're just new to the genre, and it's like if it doesn't latch into you, or you're willing to learn those games to like the high level that I've learned them, then yeah, you have to use summons. It will feel kind of gimmicky or cheap or unfair. Where for me, it was like, this boss is awesome. Oh my god, this boss is so fast, I can't even keep up with it. Like, how do I stop that? Right? Or like, how do I learn its move? And like, eventually, I do learn the moves, and I can beat it, without taking damage. So, just different kind of gamers. Anyways, that's my number 4. Let's go to your
Okay.
number 3.
So my number 3 is World of Goo 2.
Ooh, that's a great. I didn't even think about that. That's a great answer. I don't know if it'd be top 4 for me or top 5, but like that's top
I
15 for
mean,
sure.
like I said, not only do I have not a lot of disposable income for full price games, but there's not a lot that excites me this year, and I loved World of Goo 1. I actually I have such fond memories of that game. It's like fun and clever, and
I have it for the Switch.
yeah, I bought it on Wii. I gotta ask you though. So the one thing I'm concerned about with World of Goo 2 is the pointer controls. Were they
Me too.
okay?
They're fine. I really do hope that they allow for analog control.
But I'm pretty sure World of Goo did on Switch, didn't
No,
it?
no, it did not.
Oh, it's touchscreen or pointer
So
only,
that was
right?
the one thing that demotivated me from continue playing it, because like that's a game I'd want to play on a train, and for me to like, oh, I just slide out my Joy Cons and move them on the train, like, well, there
Or
goes any chance.
touchscreen, or use touchscreen. Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of turned me off from that a bit. So I'm hoping that they add at least the option to do analog in World of Goo 2.
That's shocking that they don't have that in the first one. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
how hard is that to program?
I think I don't know. I think it's just more of a direct port. Honestly, I don't know. But
Yeah, but the game's on other systems too, right? But yeah, I mean, they've spent a long time in this game clearly, unless they've made other stuff. I know they made some other games, but I think this is going to be a really great game. I don't know. There's not much else to say about it. It's a known quantity. I love like the liquidy physics of it all. They have some new additions to it. It's
but no release date confirmed, right? Just 2024.
I believe they said summer, but maybe I'm just making that up.
No, you might be right. That's a good
but
that's a good
yeah.
that's a good choice. I like that one.
But were the pointer controls serviceable? Like, I mean,
Yeah, it suffers from the same thing as any motion control does, where sometimes it'll be off center to where you are, and you just have to recalibrate it. Where it takes a millisecond to do that. It just sometimes that happens. Yeah, it's totally fine. I could play it and whatnot. Yeah, for sure.
you know what? On a side note, two of the things I really hope that the Switch 2 has as controller upgrades is one, I want both Joy-Cons to operate as Switch controllers. I want you to put a sensor bar in that console. Put the IR sensor on the top of the Joy-Cons, in between the trigger buttons, and bring back the Switch controls. Right?
What? What are you talking about?
There's an IR sensor on the bottom of the right Joy-Con. I don't know if you ever noticed that.
Yeah.
That's used for some silly gimmicks here and there. All they need to do is put that IR sensor on the top of the Joy-Con, and then put a sensor bar, give us a sensor bar, which is a cheap component, to put beneath the TV, and they can bring back IR pointer controls.
Wii controls.
That's what I mean. It's the
You
Wii
kept
controller.
saying you kept saying Switch controls. You never said the word Wii. That's why I was
sorry,
confused. Okay.
sorry. Yeah, the IR controls on the
Yeah.
Joy-Cons, and I think there was such an amazing invention on the Wii, and I really think that would be so awesome to come back. And I don't think the way they've implemented it in certain games, like World of Goo, and where they use the basically it sets a point and then it's all about the gyro. I don't think that's a good replacement for IR controls. It
I would
clearly
like
doesn't
them.
work for shooters either.
I would like them to use a technology where they combine both. They use the IR and the motion controls to get even like hyper accuracy. So it's just the best of both worlds. Some kind of program that makes them find the correct spot using both inputs.
100% agree. Yeah.
The only issue I see with what you're saying is you can't put an IR sensor in between the shoulder buttons.
Why? Just have the right analog trigger a little further back and put a little IR thing in between them.
Yeah, I guess that's doable.
The chances of you ever playing a game where you need to use like switching between R1 and L1 or R and ZR is that this wasn't a thing on the Wii. You know what I mean? Like I have a feeling if there is an IR game, they just won't have you blocking it with your finger a lot. And the thing is with the gyro, with the Wii Motion Plus, when the Wii Motion Plus came to the Wii, they allowed for this IR that if you waved off the TV, it didn't get lost anymore. It kept it through the gyro, like you mentioned. So there was a significant upgrade that they could bring to the Switch and make it switch to and make it even better. So if there was even your finger going from R to ZR and you're blocking the IR sensor, you know what I mean? Like it could still interpolate where you were. Yeah. So I think that'd be awesome, and I think that would be something really cool. And the other thing, just quickly, I think they could bring back is the Wii U functionality where I can take my Switch out of the dock and the dock has some sort of low power mode that I can still do some sort of gaming interface where I'm playing on the Switch and the dock is putting out maybe a simple map or something. That would be cool.
I care the least about. I would use it if it was available, but I don't. I rather have the lower cost. I just don't. I don't care for that. I'm just gonna keep moving on because
sidetrack.
Yeah, just for the sake of time, we can discuss the Switch 2 and our speculation of what we want down the road.
Yeah.
Another game I'm looking forward to. I think it's been announced for 2024. I'm hoping it still comes. Is the Plucky Squire. To me, that game they just showed a little gameplay snippet I think last week. And
so Derek, that's on my list too, by the way.
Okay, to me it just looks awesome. Such a creative idea. Someone kind of nailed it on the head when I saw their comment. They said the character design and just the way the world works is it looks really good, and that character looks really good in 2D, but that character model also works really, really well in 3D, and it's just a brilliant character design because it works so well in both kind of medias.
I didn't even consider that, but it just. The other thing is that I love platformers. I love 3D platformers. And this game's had such hefty delays. It leads me to believe that they're putting a lot of work into it and they know it's something special. Mm-hmm. That's a day one for me. And I'll probably get it on Xbox because I want it in the best graphics possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my number 2.
And that was my number 3. So you want me to go again?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my number 2 is... Final Fantasy VII Remake 2.
Doesn't that come out like today?
It comes out in 2 days. I'm not even getting it day one. I just am really excited to eventually play it when I get the chance. Again, I never played the original Final Fantasy VII, so it's nice to kind of experience at least some sort of similar story. The graphics are exactly what I like. The combat is exactly what I like. The game just hits all the kind of notes for me. Got crazy good reviews. I'm just excited to get back to playing kind of a RPG like that.
Yeah, the combat is the thing that looks really cool. I haven't played Final Fantasy VII Remake either. It's not on Xbox. Maybe I'll get it for Switch 2 if it hits that. But the combat looks awesome. Like that's the thing that makes the most appeal for me. Mm-hmm. But I gotta say, with this new one, that's the only thing that appeals to me. Like the story doesn't look appealing. The open world traversal in towns doesn't really appeal to me. Like I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. This one.
It all looks awesome to me.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, I think it's probably going to end up being like one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, I think so too.
So my number 1 game that I was excited for is no other than Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Really?
Yeah, I know we. I know we talked about it, and here's the thing: it's not like I'm sitting here 9 out of 10. This is no Tears of the Kingdom, all right? But the big factor is that it's free. So there's no, I don't have to worry about paying any money for it.
Peter, for the past 4 years, somehow we always come full circle to back to Game Pass's free games.
Every single game on Game Pass should have a +1 on its review score for being free.
Yeah.
But I just think that it's been in development for a long time. I think it's going to be fun. Like, even if it is, I don't think it's going to be worse than an 8 out of 10.
No, and you know what? You haven't played the other machine gun games. I have. They're all really fun. Even 7.5 games, they're all just really fun to play.
I did play Wolfenstein: The New Order. That's their game, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. They made all those more recent Wolfensteins.
They have a way. Their controls just feel snappy and crunchy in a way that I like.
Yeah, they feel good. They're fun. So I agree. I'm gonna play indie. I don't think I could ever in my head put it as like this is the game I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I mean, it really goes to show how not excited this whole year I am. To be honest, I mean, if I had a PS5, I was even thinking, Stellar Blade maybe.
Yeah, that was on my list of maybe number 5.
But yeah, there's not. I mean, it's not like Capcom has anything cool coming out, and I don't know. There's just not. I mean, if that Pragmata game could be really cool. Silent Hill looks not good. Metal Gear Solid 3 remake doesn't look like it's coming. I just don't. There's just not a lot this. I actually am. I'm in that phase near an end of a console life cycle where I'm just like lacking in interest, and I don't feel like we're normally when Nintendo starts to drop off near the end of a cycle, Sony would pick up the slack with PS2, PS3, PS4. Always had great games in this time frame. I don't even see anything from Sony that looks that interesting, so I just don't know.
A few other games that I would just throw out there as indie games that are on my radar, like Earthblade, the guy. Or the team that made Celeste.
Yes.
So that one, and also Mina the Hollower, the team that made Shovel Knight. So
that's the one with the mouse, right?
Yeah, it's like
looks like a Game Boy Color game though. Like
it's like someone described it as a Zelda like Game Boy Color game, and then they said, but it has a twist on it that sounded really cool to me. Anyways, those two games are just on my radar as well.
I think the thing with Indiana Jones for me is like at least it's like kind of AAA. There's voice acting. It's gonna be like it's.
Yeah, but to me, like I'd rather have a really really amazing indie game than a decent AAA game, because I find AAA games honestly have less soul and heart in them to begin with. So if it's just, I don't know.
I think that Indiana Jones there's more. I'm more interested in what it's gonna do than some other AAA game that's a known quantity. Like there's something unknown about this that I'm curious about, just like puzzle solving, and it looks like the last. I love Indiana Jones. I think the last 2 movies were not very good, borderline bad. I don't know if you saw Indiana Jones the last one.
I haven't seen it yet. I have it downloaded.
It's just not good at all, and I don't know. Something about this makes me feel like okay, this could be a good Indiana Jones property. But anyways, what's your number 1 game, Derek?
Yeah, like it's kind of funny. Like I don't even know if I would say I'm super excited for this game, but I did play the demo for a bit, and I thought it was really fun. I will play this game. This is probably the only game I'm for sure gonna get day 1 this year, and even then I'm not even sure I'm gonna get it day 1. That's how on the fence I am. It's Unicorn Overlord. So
okay.
Yeah, it's Unicorn Overlord. I believe it's made by, I want to say it's called
Vanillaware.
Vanillaware. And they made 13 Sentinels, which I ended up really liking, gave it a chance. So I played the demo for this game, and I describe it as it's like Fire Emblem on steroids. Like it almost feels like the strategy is like so much more than Fire Emblem. But it's so funny. Like a lot of people are complaining because it feels like an auto battler where it's like you're not controlling their attacks. But it's like Fire Emblem where it's like you engage with someone and you decide like kind of the loadout that you're doing and the options that you're doing, and then they just fight. And then the turn goes by, and then you get to choose another fight. But like, there's just so many more strategy systems at play. Like there's items and gear, but there's also like Gambit system from Final Fantasy 12. There's tons and tons of units. There's
what is a Gambit system?
So I didn't know about it until a couple days ago when I asked people about it too. So it's basically like think of coding. Like where you set conditional operations. So it's like if there's a flyer in the enemy team, use this skill. and it says heal if ally on your team that's in the front row drops below 75%. So like
Okay.
you set up commands, so you have like 6 or 7 command conditional operations like that for each of your heroes. So that means like when they go to auto battle, like you've made kind of a almost like a blueprint strategy of how you want your guys to play. And if those situations arise, they'll play in that optimal idea that you've kind of prepared for them. So it kind of streamlines. So
Cool.
it's not they're not.
Can you choose unlimited of them, or like there's a limit to how many gambits you can choose?
I think there's like 6 or 7 or 8 for each character, but there's 6 characters in each of your squads, and you have multiple squads. So you can see how many possibilities there can start being, and it's things like, oh, like if you have an archer and a swords guy, use your boost on this guy, and then you have another condition of a different character that says if this guy gets boosted, we lower the defense of the enemy that he's going to target. Like it gets all these kind of crazy conditional
Cool.
setups. So anyways, like to me that was so awesome. The world map, the options, like it just seems really, really endless. And I really, really like the graphical style. I like that kind of 2D high res art.
Are you gonna get it for Switch?
No, like even though I heard it runs really well, I think it runs at 60 and looks really good. I'm gonna get it at the 4K on PS5.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for it.
That's great. Cool. What else? Well, anyways, Eric, we don't have a lot of time left, but let's talk about what we've been playing.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you start? Because I think you've been playing a lot more than me.
Sure. So I don't even know the last time we talked. So I've been playing Helldivers 2. Yeah. I dabbled a bit more in Cyberpunk. I finished Evil West with my friend, so we played all of Evil West. I've played Ghost of Tsushima Legends now with my friends, so we're playing the multiplayer of Ghost of Tsushima. And I've been playing Bloodstained Rituals of the Night. And then I dabbled a bit on Tales of Arise for 10 minutes. And then I've also been playing some PC games, mainly Neon White. And out of all those games, the only a few I want to talk about, the first one I want to talk about is the one I'm most excited for. And again, I was saying this game would have been on my Game of the Year top
Neon
10
White?
list. Neon White.
I've seen people playing it, and I really want to play it. Is it on Xbox?
I think it's on everything right now. The only thing I would say is, to me, it's such a mouse and keyboard kind of game. And I would almost say that about no game in existence. I think like I've played every shooter with dual analog, like that's just what I'm used to. But this game is like there's just something about having that pinpoint accuracy with a mouse that just helps the fluidity and speed of what you're doing. Because like this game's all about speed. It's like a platformer shooter speed run kind of game.
Yeah, I've seen videos of it, so I know the style of it.
Yeah. So it's all about kind of going quick and snappy, but it's like it's so good because the left click on the mouse is your gun. So you pick up these cards, and the cards are like ammo for your gun. So you can shoot, let's say, a machine gun with your left click, but the right click destroys the card, destroys the gun, but it lets you do its special move. And the special move could be like a dash or a jump or like a hook shot or a ground slam. So it's like these puzzles where you're like running as fast as you can. You're shooting 3 enemies and you're wasting the gun to slingshot across, finding another card that gives you a rocket launcher to shoot 2 more enemies, shoot yourself higher up, then throw it away to get, a ground stomp card, grab 2 more, like it gets this kind of crazy flow. And each level is like 45 seconds, maybe to like a 90 seconds tops. But the real fun in it, and I don't know if this is for you, but I honestly, if you play this game, I encourage you to give this a chance, is to platinum every single level. Because I was not at the beginning, and I went through the first 4 worlds just trying to get through every level. And then I was like, you know what? Before I move on for this 5th world, I'm going to try to platinum each level. And it's so fun. Because the way it works is you beat a level, and then if you do well enough, it'll tell you where like some hints are to shorten the time. Because it's all based on time. So there's levels now where you kill 3 enemies, and instead of working your way through the building, you like jump out the window, and as you're falling, you shoot enemies and you slingshot around the outside of the building, and you're just constantly falling, shooting through the windows, killing everyone, and you shave like 25 seconds off instead of running through the building. So it's like it's not just like, oh, I can just do it faster. It's like there's a complete sequence break of the whole level. Every single level has one of those.
Oh,
so I'm
cool.
like, it's like, oh my god, like how did I not realize this the first time I ran through this level? So I actually went back and played the entire first four worlds again and platinumed every single one. So now I'm on world like I think 9 of 12, and I platinumed every single level so far, and like it's such a good game.
Wow, that might be on my radar. I'm pretty sure it's not full price too. So
No, yeah, and again, it's one of those games where each level is so short. So you can play for 45 seconds. You can try to just get the platinum on one level and stop. You could rush through 5 levels and then go back to them later. The only thing I really strongly encourage is, even if you don't do platinums, you do golds or whatever. Don't just play a level once and say I'm done and going through it, because you'll just beat every level in 30 seconds. The real fun, honestly, is like, how can I, like, what's the trick here? Like, it's not like just playing fast and being good at clicking. It's like there's a trick to each level that is so cool.
cool. It's like a racing game, kind of.
It's totally, but it's like the way the mechanics work with the cards and the, like, you get rid of a card to use a power, or you save the card to use its other power. It just works so well.
Sweet. That sounds cool. I mean, I've heard amazing things about it.
Yeah, really, really, really enjoy it. Why don't you go one, and then I'll share some others after.
Okay, so the only game I haven't been gaming a lot recently. I don't know. I'm just in one of those funks, right? I'm not playing a lot, but I've been playing a lot of Mario Kart 8 again. I don't know why. I like got back into it and playing online, and I've got to say, it's the best time to jump back in online, Derek, because all the DLC levels are now in the rotation, right?
Yeah,
So if you like, and most people choose those levels. And the thing is like, when I play now, it's sometimes I play and I'll be like, have I ever played this level? Like, it feels like because there's like over 100 something levels, right? It's crazy, but there's like, there's like some random Game Boy Advance retro course they brought back in one of the the DLC waves that I completely forgot about. And you're just always cycling a new. It's like there's just, I don't know. There's a breadth to the how many new levels there are, and people are always choosing the new ones, right? Like, they're not choosing the old ones. So it's just really cool to play. And there's times where you're just like, wow, you think it's another level because you're like, yeah, it's this underwater level, and you're like, no, it's not. It's like this other underwater level. And I don't know. I'm really good at it. Like, I literally smoke show people at it. So I just sit there and play online, and I do race after race after race after race, and I don't know. I think Mario Kart 8 is definitely one of my favorite games of all time. Like, I just love it so much. I think it's so well made and polished, and that's kind of that's my comfort game.
No, yeah, it's a great game, no doubt for that. I'll quickly.
I want to hear about Cyberpunk, because that's something that's been on my radar. I think it looks like a cool game.
I'm not that far into it, so I can't comment much. I'm about, I would say, 3-4 hours in, and so far I really, really like it. The graphics are great. The gameplay is really interesting. The story's interesting. Like, so the only real kind of, so you do kind of the intro tutorial and kind of do the first little mission, and then the story kind of kicks in and does the the cap of what you've been doing in your life as your character. And then the first mission, I'm supposed to like trade and get this kind of like robotic part from this guy. I think it's like these robotic feet. Okay. And I go in, and it's like, oh, like there's these 2 sentry turrets as you walk in that are like security guards, and they go through a checkpoint. And I was like, I wonder if I can just hack these. So I went behind and tried to hack one, and I instantly failed. And they start shooting at me, and the entire building like locks down, and I'm instantly like, oh, I'm no longer doing a negotiation. Now I'm doing like a kill and extraction. So the whole mission now is like completely turned upside down. Like, and again, I don't know if there's another way to do it. I'm sure you could have just like negotiated your way through. But I'm like, I pull out my double barreled shotgun, and I'm like killing like 60 guys. It's going crazy. And then at the end I have a boss fight, and then I end up getting the shoes anyways. And like I leave, and like all these dialogues are happening outside. They're like, hey, do you get it? Like, what happened? And then like I tell the people that I killed the guy who was supposed to deal it to me. And like some people are angry about that. Some people are happy. So far, again, my experience is limited. I'm really into it. Like,
that sounds really cool that it's so versatile, and the NPCs are so.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like Fallout, where it's like you can kill kind of one of the main characters, and the game will actually continue. So yeah, I'm really, really liking it. I will say though that the one reason I haven't gotten further is it's one of those games that's really hard to motivate myself to play for 45 minutes. It's one of those games like I would love to have a couple hours to like really get into it, and then have that multiple days in a row even. where it's like to sit down for like 30 minutes in the morning or 45 minutes before bedtime. It's like I feel like I wouldn't get very far because like there's so much to it, and I'm sure I would still like those 45 minutes, but it's like the games that have so much content
Yeah.
and
So you play for 30 minutes and you're just like in a dialogue tree and like
yeah,
looking for something.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the one kind of I would say downside. I haven't found a single thing I don't like about it so far. It's just hard for me to get into it. So I've been slowly playing these kind of more pick up and get right to the action like Helldivers 2. So I jump right in and all of a sudden I'm having fun. Where Cyberpunk, I'm having a lot of fun too.
No, was Cyberpunk full price?
So funny enough, I bought it day one when the game first came out.
Oh wow, okay.
And I never played it. So I saw the reviews, saw these people's opinions. So I never played it. And I waited and waited and waited. And then version, it's called 2.0 or 2.1 came out when the DLC came out. And everyone online was like, this game is now a totally different game. This game's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? This year is a slow year. This year I'm gonna crush I call them the my white whales of video games. I have 4 games that I've been wanting to play for years. And I was like, I'm gonna add it as it's my white whale game. The first one I'm gonna play, Cyberpunk. So I decided to do that. I'm gonna play the DLC as well and just kind of immerse myself in that game.
Like GTA where you can kind of just run around, hijack a car, go buckshot, and just like kind of a fun time that way?
So again, I'm early on, so I don't know how much freedom there is. So there is a bit of that. Again, I don't know the expanse of it. But for example, on my way to that mission where I kind of took over that building and things got crazy, I like stopped and I saw these FBI agents kind of doing this little thing on the side, or security agents. And I went over, I'm like, what happens if I just start shooting them? So I started shooting them, and like, it's kind of like GTA where like cops start coming, there's more people shooting at me, and I could like jump into a car and get away. So like there is that. I just don't know, like, is there enough of that to like sustain your entire gameplay? I think it's a little bit.
There never really is, even in GTA.
No, like, but GTA, it's like you could play none of the main story and still have a good time.
Yeah.
Where this game, I feel like you probably have to play the main story at times, but you can do that at times too, I'm sure.
That's probably going to be one of my white whales of gaming, because I always just look so cool and big to me, and it looks like it does everything that something like Starfield doesn't with interactivity.
Totally, and I just have never played a cyberpunk kind of game before.
What are your other 3 white whales of gaming?
Let me pull them up real quick for you. They were The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Divinity 2.
Uh-huh.
Neo 2, and now I added Death Stranding. I want to give that game another real go.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So those are kind of the games I've owned for a long time, and they're just these huge, big. They're insanely highly rated and highly regarded, popular games.
Death Stranding's not too highly rated.
No, that one I just added because of Death Stranding 2, and I was like, I might as well just give that a second chance. That one's not really a white whale, I guess. It was really Divinity 2, Witcher 3, Neo 2, and Cyberpunk.
I feel like Divinity 2, you could also just jump right to Baldur's Gate, which is like the upgrade to Divinity 2, right?
Totally, and I want to, but in my head I'm like, well, why would I buy Baldur's Gate 3 for $80 when I own Divinity 2? And I'm sure it's so similar. Like, I understand Baldur's Gate 3 is better, whatever, but Divinity 2 people love. So I'm like, I might as well give Divinity 2 a go, see if I enjoy it, play it, and then wait a year or two. When I want to play a game like this again, Baldur's Gate 3 will be $10.
On Switch.
Yeah.
For full price.
Yeah.
Is that it, Derek? I know we're kind of running out of time here.
Yeah, that's okay. Just quickly, I'll mention the last 2 games that I'm playing a lot of. So Helldivers 2, a phenomenal game. Love it a lot. Couldn't recommend it more.
It's going to be on your Game of the Year list for sure, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. No, that's not even a question. Like, freaking awesome game. One of the most, again, one of those games I would describe as, there are games with great story, there are games or whatever. This is one of those games where it's just super fun to play. Like, it's when you have that smile on your face, you're like, oh my god, this game is so good.
I mean, I practically bought a PS5 for it, so that's how much I want it.
Yeah, it's really, really, really good. And then Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, mediocre Castlevania copy.
I don't know why you're playing that. It looks awful.
You know what? I was picking up a game. I was looking at the Game Pass games. I picked it up and I was like, I'm just gonna give it a go. And I'm now halfway through. I'm not really totally invested. Again, it's just one of those games where why not keep playing it? I tried Dead Island 2 for a bit. It was okay. Evil West is the one I want to talk about. Give me 2 minutes. Really,
Okay.
really fun. It really gives that Xbox 360 kind of itch of you just go to area to area to area. It's very linear, but the combat's really fun, and I had a lot of fun playing it co-op. It's like
You're
you do
playing it
get
on PS5, right? Because it was on the PlayStation thing, right?
yeah. We played it on PS5. It was on PS Plus. We played co-op every step of the way.
It's gotta
Really,
come
really
to
fun.
Gotta come to Game Pass this year, though. It's got to be a candidate for Game Pass.
Yeah, it's got to be. It really, really recommend it. It's really fun.
I really want to play it. Wait, you said Dead Island's not very good, eh?
No, I said Dead Island 2. I haven't played too much of it. I want to keep playing. It's not as good as everyone's made it sound online. People said it's like so good and really, really fun. So far for me, it's like it's a solid game. I'm gonna give it more time because I am enjoying what I'm playing, but I'm not like this game is the best like I feel with Helldivers. It's more of like a okay, like melee combat versus zombies, what you expect.
But it's open world, right?
Sort of. Like again, I haven't gotten far enough to like experience that. I'm like on the second mission of the game.
Oh, I thought it was like a big open world that like you can multiplayer, go around, kill zombies.
So we are multiplayer. I did multiplayer with some randoms, and we did a mission, and like it is kind of open where like you can go to the hotel in different ways, and like there's streets that lead to different buildings and side quests and stuff. I just don't know if it's like open the way Dying Light is open.
I see. Okay, maybe I'm
Yeah.
mixing them up. Cool. I'm gonna download it and give it a try.
Yeah, out of all the games I would recommend, I mean, besides Helldivers, Neon White. If there's a way you can play that, especially like if you could run that on your Mac, oh my God, just give it a chance. It's so good.
Okay, well, noted.
Yeah,
All right, Derek. I think that's about time for us.
yeah. This was a good chat today.
Good chat. Okay, well, if you're out there listening, thanks for sitting with us, and yeah, well, we'll see you next time. This is Nintendo Bros Podcast. Peter signing out.
This is Derek. See you later.